Hi everyone, Shadow here. Welcome back to my channel. For tonight's video, I decided that I would share my favorite movies from 2021 this year. And these will be in no particular order. These are all the movies that I've seen so far this year. And I will just, like I said, in no particular order, tell them which are my favorites. First off is Mortal Kombat. Now, Mortal Kombat was alright, but the story to me didn't make sense, as in most movies nowadays. The action was awesome. The fatalities were great. My most favorite one was the one Kung Lao did on Natara. But overall, the story didn't make sense. Like, I wish they would have made the main character someone other than the one they put in the movie, which is Cole Young. But it just didn't sit well with me, story-wise, but otherwise the action was great. Next up is Black Widow. Now, as you all know, I am a huge Marvel fan. So most of these will be superhero movies, but Black Widow was okay. I loved it. I will be getting it on Blu-ray, buying it. It was not the type of movie that I was expecting per se. Like, I'm finally glad they decided to make her solo movie, but like, to me, I love it. I mean, it wasn't as good as I thought it would be, but it wasn't bad either. And again, most case with most movies. The action was awesome. The story was great. Like, before they started filming it, they were coming up with what the plot, when they were coming up with what the plot would be, they were thinking about making her movie an origin story, which is what everyone wanted to see, but then they decided to set it between Captain America Civil War and Infinity War. But Scarlett Johansson was awesome in that movie. If Fun fact, there were several actresses who were supposed to be Black Widow before Scarlett Johansson was ultimately cast. One such was Emily Blunt. She was supposed to be Black Widow, but she had to drop out due to other conflicts. Then was Natalie Portman. She was one of the runner-ups, but she ended up becoming Jane Foster, who was Thor's love interest. Then it was Gemma Arterton, which she's not very well known, perhaps. Like, the only movie I know her from is Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunters, which I have that movie on DVD somewhere. The other one is Eliza Dushku, who is best known as Faith Lahane from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I mean, I can maybe kind of see that, but nah. When she was auditioning for Black Widow, she said she was perfect for the role, and she even, like, I watched this in a video, she spoke Russian, but that didn't get her the role. That's all. There's several others, but that's all that I know right now. But another fun fact before I move on to the next one, Emily Blunt is, or everyone is saying that Emily Blunt will be perfect to play Invisible Woman, which I can totally see. But yeah. Next one is Zack Snyder's Justice League. Now, that movie was long, but in my opinion, it was so badass. Um, I actually went to the theaters and saw the 2017 Justice League, and I hated that movie. The story did not make sense at all. Like, really? Josh Whedon is not my favorite person in the world. But we're not going to get into what he has done because that is not suitable for younger viewers, for my viewers who might be younger. But essentially, what happened in the 2017 Justice League was Zack Snyder was directing it, and then he had to step down because of complications, and Josh Whedon took over. Well, Josh Whedon completely erased everything that Zack Snyder had done, and ultimately ruined the movie. Like, Steppenwolf was not scary. The story did not. I mean, I have that movie on Blu-ray. I got it just for the hell of it because it's a superhero movie. Let me see. But it just, that one didn't sit well with me. But when Zack Snyder wanted to watch Josh Whedon's version of Justice League, his family told him not to watch it because it would hurt his feelings. And to be honest, if I were him, it would too. But in Zack Snyder's Justice League, the story made better sense. It used a completely different color palette. Some of the same scenes are in the movie, or in Zack Snyder's version, but some of them are reshot. Some of the same shots are in the movie, but they're put in different order now. Like, for instance, at the end, when Wonder Woman was jumping up into the air with her sword, in Josh Whedon's version, she was destroying Steppenwolf's axe. But in Zack Snyder's Justice League, she was cutting off his head. And I like how Darkseid was in it but only for a second. Justice League Part 2 will be featuring Darkseid, I think, which I hope they do, because he's one of my favorite DC villains. He's basically a god. But yeah, I love that movie, even though it was rated R. Then I should have said this earlier, but this video will contain spoilers, so don't watch if you haven't seen, or skip ahead if you haven't seen any of these movies. The next is The Matrix Resurrections. I watched that last week. Even though I love The Matrix, this one was alright. I liked it, but it didn't beat the first one, because nothing beats the first one with any movie. But it was okay. The action was great, but the plot didn't make sense to me. I was really confused as to what was happening. Like, in my opinion, the entire point of the movie was Neo trying to get Trinity back. But there was, at one point in the movie, Neo meets with Niobe, and she explains to him that in the real world, 60 years had passed since the machine war ended. And Neo is in the Matrix is working for a game as a video game designer for a company, and he made a video game based on his dreams from the Matrix. But it was okay. I mean, it was alright. I mean, I liked it. I might watch it again just for the hell of it, and I'll get it on Blu-ray when it comes out on Blu-ray, because, I'm just me. Next is the Suicide Squad, another DC movie that got rebooted. So, I went to theaters and saw the Suicide Squad. I was in 8th grade when I went and saw it. Okay, story time. I wore a shirt, and I still have it in my closet somewhere. But, it had Harley Quinn in her comic book, the New 52 version, wearing her roller skating outfit and cops on it with their guns holstered. Well, it was like the second day of school, and my dad was going to take me to see Suicide Squad. And he, like, during the school day, someone, like, teachers noticed what I was wearing, and they took me to the counselor, and the counselor tried to find me another shirt to wear, and she couldn't find anything, so she just told me to turn it inside out and wear it for the rest of the day like that. The reason why I didn't understand it at the time, but years later I did, it was for different reasons, mainly because of the cops with the guns. They told me it would offend someone, but we're not going to get into that, because I don't want to offend anyone by doing that. If I do, I'm sorry. But the other thing is, they said that the way Harley Quinn was dressed would offend the women, but anyway, the whole point was that the shirt offended. They said the shirt would offend someone in a different way, so they told me to wear it inside out for the rest of the day. And then I told my dad when he came and picked me up, and he was not happy. He called the school and asked to speak to the counselor, and she told my dad that she didn't mean to upset me, or something like that. But like I said, if that story offends anyone, I am very sorry. I don't mean to offend anyone, I'm just explaining in my experience. But yeah, again, I'm very sorry if that offends anyone. But back to the movie. It was okay again. Like, it didn't make sense. Like, in the movie, the Enchantress is the main villain, June Moon. And the Enchantress is an entity that takes over June Moon's body. And she becomes the main villain, like, villainous. But the action was great, but the story was crappy, didn't make sense, didn't sit well with me, but like the Justice League, but yeah. And then the Suicide Squad, which came out this year, was awesome. It was better, even though it was gory. It was awesome. I loved King Shark. Harley was badass. The main villain was Starro, which I loved. Not Deadshot, but Idris Elba was in it, and he was originally gonna be Deadshot, because supposedly they weren't gonna bring Will Smith back, but they didn't, I guess they decided at the last minute to bring Will Smith back as Deadshot, But they decided that Idris Elba would still be in the movie, but as a different character, which is Bloodsport. I think, yeah, Bloodsport. And then it was just a whole array of characters, and I'm like, when I saw the poster, I was like, no, not all of those characters are gonna make it out alive. It's like at the very beginning when they landed on the island, like immediately a lot of them a lot of them died. Like Captain Boomerang died from a helicopter. Um, that's all about to remember. But the action was great. Oh. But yeah, it was awesome. I might be getting that movie on DVD or Blu-ray or 4K Ultra soon. The next up is Fast and Furious 9 or F9, the Fast Saga. I went to theaters and saw that before my dad went off to work. But it was okay again. Like, I just watched it because it's Fast and Furious. I practically grew up on those movies. But I love the first one. But, like, I'm, like, thinking over the years, how did it go from... It changed plots. Like, it went from racing cars to saving the world. Like, how did that happen? But to me, I kind of like that change because how are you going to make 10 movies based on just racing cars? I mean, you gotta do something. But the action, it was just completely action. That's all I'm going to say about Fast 9. It was very awesome. Some of the stunts in it were impossible, but, you know, it's an action movie. They gotta show things that are impossible, like an entire convoy flipping over and just standing up in the air. I don't really understand that, but anyways. Then is Eternals. I went to the theaters and saw that one as well. I didn't... That movie, it wasn't as good as I thought it would be, but it wasn't bad either. Basically, they wanted to... My computer's on. Basically, Marvel wanted to bring in the Eternals. Well, Angelina Jolie is in it as Thena. Well, I just remembered she was one of the follow-ups to be Black Widow, but they chose ScarJo over her instead of her, and she ended up coming to Marvel years later as Thena. But the Eternals is like 2 hours and 37 minutes long. It's like based on a group of aliens that are created by Celestials, and the Celestials created the Earth and the universe, basically. They were the first beings here. And you thought that Thanos was a threat? Imagine what it's going to be like now that the Celestials are in the MCU, officially. I mean, they've already been known to exist in the MCU, such as in Guardians of the Galaxy, when the Collector was showing Gamora and Star-Lord the Power Stone, and it showed a flashback of a big Celestial devouring everything on the ground. I can't exactly remember what his name was, but it's something. But yeah, it wasn't as good as I thought it would be, but it wasn't bad either. It did jump back and forth between the past and present. Like, it showed everything that the Eternals participated in throughout history. But the real reason the Eternals were created were to fight these creatures called the Deviants. The Deviants, are another race created by the Celestial that created the Eternals, Arsham. Arsham created the Deviants, but he was like wanting to like explore other planets, and he created the Deviants to kill any predators on the planet. But soon the Deviants became involved. They evolved, and they soon started killing anything they saw, whether it was harmless or not. And so he realized, after his creations had gone rogue, Arsham created the Eternals to fight the Deviants. And the Eternals are an entire race. They're an entire species. They're not just a small group of people. The movie is centered on a small group of Eternals, which are in the comic books. But it was awesome. I'm not going to go into what all of their powers are, but that's for a later video, I suppose. Then is Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. That one I did not see at the theaters, unfortunately, even though I wanted to. I saw that one at home. I love that movie. I love Shang-Chi. The story was great. And now that it's like they gotta find some way to incorporate Shang-Chi into the MCU now. Yeah. It would be interesting to see how Shang-Chi reacts with the other superheroes. Yeah, that one was awesome. Like, I loved it really well. I really don't have much to say about that one either. I really don't. And this one is a Disney. The next one is a Disney movie, Cruella. Now I know what you're all gonna say. Oh, Shadow, why do you watch such girly movies? Well, I'm here to say, I don't care. I don't care. I love that movie. That movie was great. It was very, very good. Better than I thought it would be. Story made sense. It was basically an origin story of Cruella. And now they're wanting to do a Cruella 2 with Emma Stone. And that brings me to the next movie, which is also a Disney movie, Mulan. No, Mulan came out last year, never mind. Ignore that part. And then I guess that brings me to my final movie, which I just saw tonight, Spider-Man No Way Home. Now, I'm not going to say much about this one because it's fairly new, and I'm not going to spoil it for anyone who hasn't seen it yet. So, all I'm going to say about that one is it's very, very good. It is officially my favorite Spider-Man movie now. Of all time. Action was great. Story was great. Very, very good. Now, for the honorable mentions are the ones that I haven't seen yet. I have not seen Jungle Cruise. That might be the only one I haven't seen. I mean, I did see Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City. That one was okay. But they essentially, in that one, they tried to cram 3 games into one movie, basically, which was a terrible idea. But I did love the actors in it. Yeah. Um, Here's another Disney movie that came out this year that I haven't seen yet, but it looks interesting. Encanto. Now, if you don't know what Encanto is, it's about this family that lives in Colombia, and everyone in the family is blessed with powers by the time they turn 5. And the main character in the movie, Mirabelle, she has to struggle with having no powers at all. But some of their powers are interesting. Like her oldest sister has the ability to make plants and flowers grow. Her her second oldest sister has super strength. Her aunt has the ability to control the weather with her mood. Her mom can heal people. Um, her cousin can shape. Her cousins can shape. One can shapeshift. The other can talk to animals. The other cousin can. She has super hearing. But that's about it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Um, this will be the end of it, but don't worry, don't fret. There will be another video tomorrow, and it will officially be the last video of 2021. Good night. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Comment down below what your favorite movie from this year was. And I will see you next time.